Could take your seats. For those of you at the board, you're going to have a lot of opportunity this evening to interact with our amazing staff and professionals about what your ideas and thoughts are for this amazing space that we're basically going to give back to the community. So, my name is Jeff Wilson. I'm the Director of Government Community Relations for CTA on the RPM Red Purple Modernization Project. And tonight we're here to talk about activating the Under-L space that is from Lawrence north to Ardmore, or Ardmore south to Lawrence, depending on where you are within the Red Purple Modernization Project. Tonight we have ASL interpreters to my left. We also want to welcome our Facebook Live people, thank you. And we also are going to be doing a brief presentation, and then what we're going to do is we're going to let you go back and talk to the experts that are at the board who have answers to everything from what is going to happen on the project to what the process is for activating the space under the L. Right now, we can see the end of this project in our horizon, in the near horizon. We anticipate being done with the actual construction in the end of 2025. Right now, what they're doing is they're putting in the foundation, the concrete caissons to build the stations themselves. So this year and next year, you're going to start seeing the sexy stuff coming together and the stations coming alive. So we're really excited about this. But we're really excited to talk to you tonight about what to do about activating that space. As you know, this structure is 100 years old, and removing that embankment allows the community now the ability to activate and work with CTA as a partner in activating that space. Tonight we have two special guests. We have the alderperson from the 46th Ward, Alderman Clay, and we have the alder from the 48th Ward, Alderman Lenny Hoppenworth. And right now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce Alderman Clay from the 46th Ward. Alder Clay, would you mind coming up to the... Thank you so much for your partnership.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, all. Happy almost final snow. Right? Okay. I hope you all are staying warm. My name is Alderwoman Angela Clay. I am the alderperson of this amazing ward that we are sitting down smack in the middle of, 46. And I'm so excited for you all to be a part of this project. When this first came to our attention, we were super excited to partner with CTA because this is an amazing opportunity for us to have a historic piece in our actual communities, to actually link them together. That is a beautiful tool, especially when we have the red line that flows all across the city, right? So I want you all to really listen to this presentation, take all of the information in, and think big, right? When we are starting something new and we are trying to make something historic, reach for the stars so that we can get to a place that we can really fit all of our ideas in successfully and make this a project that future generations will take part in. So thank you again for spending some time with us this evening. I'm looking forward to the results that come after this in the next steps. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, thank you, Ms. Alderwoman Angela Clay, for hosting us today. I also want to thank the RPM CTA team for all of your work these last many years to keep us all together and to communicate with us. And I'm also excited for you all to meet Site Design, who is going to be driving the conversations based on what you're going to share with us today. So we're really excited to present to you, and as Alderwoman Clay was saying, we really would love it if you could think big. We didn't think that there was going to be this opportunity. They decided last year around this time that the embankments could not be kept, and so removing it, you can actually see all of the land that concrete took up. So what is it that we can do underneath that is going to be a reflection of the communities that are here today, and how is it that we're going to welcome others so that they can see the great destination that is the 46th, the 48th Ward, and then eventually moving up north to the 49th Ward. So just keep in mind also that this is going to it's firstly not going to be the last conversation. This is the first of many conversations, so if you have ideas that you think of after this meeting, there's gonna be opportunities, and then we're gonna share ways for you to keep in touch with us. But today is a moment to just enjoy and celebrate this opportunity, this historic opportunity, and figure out how we're going to leave our mark here for possibly generations to come. So no pressure or anything, but let's do it. Thanks, everybody.
So right now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the team. We're going to have Emily Ryan, who's the manager of CTA Infrastructure. She's also the manager on this special infrastructure project. And then after Emily, you're going to hear from Site Design themselves. And Site Design is the contractor who we contracted with to get us to this point and beyond. So, Emily, would you like to do a little presentation about what we're going to see?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We truly cannot do this without you. So this is the first step, and it is an honor to be with you. If I can, I would like to start with a brief history of how we got here. So in the beginning of 2023, my management, RPM management, came and approached me and said, we have a new situation on the construction job. And we would like for you to help show that it's good, that it's good promise. And so I basically took out a piece of paper and drew a couple of things, and it read a lot. There's a lot of good promise here. So then in spring of 2023, CTA announced this major new enhancement for the RPM Phase 1 project, which is the removal of nearly a century-old embankment. And with that removal, created almost over a mile of open space for this community. So this is truly a rare and exciting opportunity for this community who lives in an urban environment and highly populated. So I already know that we need to catch up on our slides. So could we, next slide. Just to orient everybody, this is north, south. The project site does go beyond Bryn Mawr to Ardmore, so it's Lawrence to Ardmore. Next slide, please. So activation overview. I do want to give you just an update where we are in construction with the embankment removal. As of tonight, we have removed 100% of the viaducts. We have removed 100% of the embankment infill, or we've completed 100% of the excavation of that. And we are 98% complete on removing the actual wall. There is a small portion remaining within the block of Lawrence and Ainsley. Soon, you will see the green giant gantry being erected, and that is in preparation for the erection of the segments on the west side of the structure, Next slide, please. The activation goals. I want to focus on the center one, but we do want to take and squeeze this for all that it has. We do want to maximize and take all the potential that this has. 2, hold a truly interactive community process. Absolutely, like I said, this cannot happen without you. It requires this collective community because there's so much that can be done. We need all of your help. We need your ideas. We need your concerns. We need to know what you know about this area, what can help it, what are some obstacles that you want to overcome with it. And then what Site Design is going to do is we want a viable rollout plan. So we want to show you our commitment, and we want a demonstration area for you within 2025, but it doesn't stop there. We want to show you also that our plan on the entire activation area. Next slide, please. Next slide. So for some of you, this may be just a reacquaintance with the track structure, and for some of you, this may be a really short and sweet meet and greet. So the structure itself is comprised of 1,555 segments. The caissons, the columns that it sits on, goes 65 feet below grade, and the underside of the structure hovers around 14 and a half feet above grade. Next slide, please. Oh, fun fact, sorry. So if you align all the new track structure, it is around 3 miles of new track structure, which is significant. I do want to go over site constraints. So, to be fully transparent, there, in order to allow access to maintain the structure, there will be a few limitations on what we can do with the space underneath the track structure. One of those limitations is we need to make sure that we can access it with the equipment that we traditionally use to maintain the CTA structure. Two, we cannot attach to the structure, and this is to alleviate the breakdown of the structure. Three, there is an intensive stormwater management system underneath this structure. If you notice, it is a closed deck system, which is, it's not our typical steel, loud, clanky structure. So all of that water is being diverted underneath, and whatever we get blown off from the side to side. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle under there to catch all the water that could come in. And the limited sunlight. So because of overhead obstructions and adjacent buildings, we do get some of that light loss, and so therefore some of our landscapes options go away. Next slide, please. Safety and security, it's real. Think of safety and security as the foundation on which we will build this on. So there will be lighting throughout the right-of-way to activate it. We are going to be paying attention to sight lines, and so that we don't create dark corners. And then we always have our ongoing coordination with the Chicago Police Department, the social agencies, and your alder people to listen to you throughout this and beyond it. Next slide, please. So I want to go over the schedule. So today we are at ideation. It's creative thought process. We need to get your ideas on paper, memorialize them, capture them, so we can take them back and make them real. That will be a process, an ongoing process up until our next meeting. So I want to stress that you should not be stressed. This is not the only time you have to give us feedback. If you go home tonight and you're like, oh, I forgot to say that, or I don't really think that I made my point clear, and you just want to keep adding to it, you have that opportunity, and we're constantly looking at your feedback through the ways that we'll share with you. And so once we do that, we'll go into basically our second meeting is presenting you with our response for all of your information you gave us. And with that, you'll critique it. You'll say, that's not what we meant. Or actually, now that we're starting to see this put together, it seems like it makes more sense over here. Or how about this? So you have another reiteration of idea gathering and development of this. Then we take that back and develop it more and present it to you again. And then our goal again is to have you a demonstration area for you in 2025 with a rollout plan after that. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, no next slide. So the end of 2023, we, CTA had brought Site Design Group onto our project. They are a nationally renowned award-winning firm. They are DBE certified. They specialize in landscape architecture, urban design, and architecture. And they are located in Chicago's South Loop. And it is my pleasure to introduce their project manager, Brenda Keeskin.
Slide this over here. Thank you everyone for being here. It is so enjoyable to see such an active and engaged community and interested in what this project could be. I'm Brenda Keeskin. I've been with Site Design Group for 17 years as a senior project manager, working almost exclusively on the public projects that we do. I want to take a brief moment and introduce Site Design Group and a small sampling of our projects. We have almost 35 years of experience working in and around Chicago, designing public open space as regional destinations that physically break down barriers. Most of the work that we have, we are very proud of, and we want to, we can go to the next slide, sorry. I hope that, louder? Sorry, can everybody hear me in the back? Do I need to, okay. I hope that you all have experienced at least one of our parks. We're very proud of them. I know that when I give recommendations to any Chicago residents, they're at the top of my list, but I am admittedly a bit biased. We are anxiously awaiting the completion of the Obama Presidential Center. And then the other more well-known large-scale built projects that I want to go through have a common thread of transforming infrastructure sites into regional parks that create a sense of belonging and that a community can really get behind. We worked on the Riverwalk East in the Loop to develop the forgotten riverbank. If we go to the next slide. We transformed a quarry in Bridgeport at Henry Palmisano Park. And we transformed a rail yard to create a gem of an open space within Chinatown at Pingtown Memorial Park. If we could go to the next slide. I hope that jumping ahead. Beyond our big capital development projects that we have worked on, we also have a passion for developing transformative projects that have a very quick turnaround. The big capital projects have a 5 to 10 year timeline to materialize, and these projects took closer to 6 months to a year. This is where we transformed vacant lots or areas that are traditionally used for vehicles to create community gathering, places for recreation, artistic expression, and community identity. We go to the next slide. I hope that gives a sense of confidence that we are very excited and committed to this project. I want to reiterate that we are at step one. You're going to hear this over and over again, but we have come here with no preconceived notions of what this space can be. We are here to listen to you. So Sam and I are going to talk a little bit about our initial design process so that we come to you at the first step and you're confident that we know the site and the surrounding context. So if we go to the next slide, our step one is to understand the physical constraints. So we have a 60-foot right-of-way that we are working on that's about a mile long. We've got 2 sets of columns and track structures that are going to create a roof and immediate adjacent buildings that are going to create those walls, and how does that space feel? And as you move kind of north to south, those columns that come down and interrupt the ground plane, they go from a set of 2 to a set of 3, if you could go to the next slide. And understanding how that roof and how those columns affect the site, that's going to affect sunlight, it's going to affect the way you move through the site and affect view corridors. And all of that information is going to feed into our design process on how much planting we can provide to start to define the circulation paths, both pedestrian and vehicular, as well as start to influence the design of the lighting and make sure that we're not creating any of those dark spaces. If you go to the next slide. So beyond the corridor itself, we start to look at the surrounding context and the relationship of the corridor to that neighborhood. So this is a map with north rotated to the left. Very simple land use map. And what this map tells us, the yellow on the east side, those are residential units, and those users are going to have very different needs than the commercial corridor along the west side. We've started to map the parking as well. That will start to tell you the existing parking capacity that you have, as well as start to define some of those traffic patterns. Next slide. Another important step, we want to understand how the immediate corridor to the west, which is just half a block west of us, how that commercial corridor along Broadway is currently being used, and start to understand if there's potential partners in those user groups to start to activate and maintain the space. We can go to the next slide. And then one of the very interesting pieces that I don't know if it's coming through super clear on this slide, but not only do we go through 2 neighborhoods and 2 aldermanic wards, we also have a unique opportunity. We're going through 3 different National Register historic districts. And then one of the other big pieces that we want to hear from you is how you want to use the space and what amenities can be provided. And so, but before we do that, we want to make sure we have an inventory of the existing amenities that you currently have within a 15-minute walk of this site. We don't want to have any redundancy in programs. We want to fill a void that the community has so that this space really becomes a space that is well-loved, maintained, and cared for. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sam to talk through a little bit more of the design.
Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Samantha Mongshui. I am a design manager from Site Design Group. I've been working with Site for over 7 years now. Worked on projects like Riverwalk East, which we talked about, and the West Loop Design Guideline. Next slide, please. And today I'm very excited to share with you some of the researches and analysis we did, just as part of this initial process of our design. Starting with the case studies, we looked into projects both from within US and around the globe to just study design solutions for under-bridge spaces. And this is super helpful for us just to see what's possible, what's being done in projects that's similar to our site. Next slide, please. So starting with this first one, the Underline in Miami, Florida. This one, we looked to this project for its various ideas on programming possibilities. This project provides improved pedestrian and bike paths leading to different public transportation nodes. Next slide, please. It also creates new public open spaces for amenities. Now you see an image of a sports court and a dog park. Other amenities also include a skate park, fitness equipment, performance space, and various public art. Next slide. This next one we looked at is I-5 underpass activation in Seattle, Washington. This project has a lot of good lessons in place-making strategies that celebrate cultural identities. This site is located within Seattle Chinatown. The community wanted to see their cultural identity being represented. They also want to see improved safety for the site, as well as more robust programming in terms of site activation. So you can see in this rendering that culturally important color palette being employed onto different site features. Enhanced lighting renders the space safer, as well as more pedestrian friendly. Also on the right, you see a food truck plaza with different seating, gathering opportunities, and the play feature in the front, in the foreground. And all together, they really transform the space into a destination. Next slide. And now we're just looking at another component within the same site, a pedestrian path connecting the two portions of the site. Again, here, inspired by cultural images, a curved pedestrian path has been created with ground paintings of a school of fish, representing wealth and prosperity. Next slide. Moving forward, this next one we looked at is Ottawa Children's Park in Tokyo, Japan. This one is specifically relevant in the sense that it also, similar to our site, has buildings on both sides of the elevator tracks. This site is located within a residential area in Tokyo. Similarly, it also has limited sunlight. However, with the low residential buildings and alleyways on both sides, it does bring the scale down, so rendering the space more intimate. Next slide. What they have for their site is a linear park composed of 3 zones, a garden zone, a wellness zone, and a play zone. Within the garden zone, they have a creek-like water feature with planted areas used by boaters. Within the wellness zone, they have a running track with different fitness equipment. And the play zone, they have different play equipment suitable for children of a wide age range. Next slide, please. Moving forward, we've also looked at underground ink clog in Boston, Massachusetts. We looked to this project for its stormwater daylighting strategy, as well as site lighting strategy. What they did for this site is they turned the under viaduct space into a green stormwater infrastructure. By designing the topography during rain events, water is able to meander through the site like a river. On top of that, they also built walkway and decks for structural inspections. But these deck spaces, they also double function as program areas. Next slide. And at night, the columns of the bridge became canvas for these operable lightings. And these lights at night, they help to dress up the space as well as provide better visibilities. Next one. Last but not least, we looked at CR, Sylvia Park in Auckland, New Zealand. This one is a good example showing creative design solutions combating low and dark underbridge space. The main design element within this one is simply these vertical steel posts painted into vibrant colors, bringing life into this potentially negative space. These steel posts also helped defining seating and gathering areas at high traffic locations. Next slide. And moving forward, this next section, we have prepared you some mood board-like images outlining 3 main directions we think are suitable for the site. With these images, our intention really is to introduce you 3 different palettes of color, materials, and forms. Next slide, please. Mood 1 uses a warm and earthy color aimed at creating a vibrant space. Therefore, colors and patterns not only can be applied to the ground, they can be also applied onto vertical surfaces and the different site furnitures. Next slide. Mood 2 focuses on creating a natural environment. So using materials like boulders, gravels, wood to bring textures into the space. Also planting as another component in this also helps soften the space as well as bringing in some verticality and seasonal interest as well. Next slide. Mood 3 considers a modern and playful look. So thinking less saturated, more pastel colors, and simple, minimal forms in site furnishing. And all this information, they're also included on the boards behind you. Once we get to the voting part of tonight's activity, we would love to hear what your preferences on these. Next slide. In this following section, we prepare some high-level layout diagrams just to facilitate our next stage of design work. These layout diagrams, they're mainly concerning 3 things. 1, active program spaces. 2, multi-use path circulation. And 3, potential parking. Next slide. All right. So you will see 3 conditions. With these all 3 conditions, we have prepared a plan and the 2 sections to go with each one of them. And throughout the 3 conditions, throughout the 3 conditions, I want to point out that pink is representing the multi-use path, orange, the program areas, and blue indicates where the parking goes. So starting with condition 1 specifically, in this one, we located the larger program areas by the ends of the block and the smaller program areas by the commercial and mixed-use building on the west. Parking, to the extent that's included in this one, is located along the residential alleyway. In terms of the 2 sections, I just want to quickly talk through them. The section A is cut at the end of the block. Here you see how it's reflecting the larger program area. You have the multi-use paths in the middle and program spaces on both sides. And the section B cutting mid-block, still here we have the multi-use paths in the middle, but program areas on the left and parking on the right here. In terms of pros and cons for this first condition, because we're locating the larger program areas adjacent to the main street, we're really devoting the most visible, most accessible spaces for programs and activities. Parking access in this one, we're utilizing the existing residential alleyway for parking access. Therefore, it does provide good separation in vehicular and pedestrian traffic in this condition. However, the flip side of that is it does minimize programmable spaces for the residential buildings on the east side. Next slide. Condition 2 considers consolidated programs on both ends of the block, while concentrating parking in mid-block. This allows visibility and accessibility to all active spaces. Also, this provides most clear division in vehicular and the pedestrian traffic. And a disadvantage of this layout is it does create disconnected program areas. Next slide. So in condition 3, we considered blocks that may not be suitable for parking. Therefore, you see that the entire space, the entire under-track space is deemed programmable. And that obviously brings you the maximum amount of real estate for amenities. And similar to the mood board, all this information are also in the boards behind you. Once we get to the voting sections, you're able to, react towards how we organize these things. And for the remaining part, I want to bring Brenda back just to explain to you a little bit more about the voting activities we're going to have after the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I know you guys all are very anxious to give your opinion, and we are very anxious to get back there and hear those opinions. I want to give a quick kind of cursory level of what the activities look like, so that if, in case you don't have a representative to find, you have a little bit more instruction. If we could go to the next slide. Again, we'll have representatives at most of these stations. You can find us in red CTA shirts or black Chinese New Year shirts. We encourage you to all ask questions. Hopefully you all have received actually you can go to the next slide. Grabbed a survey form when you came in. It's double-sided. This is going to provide you an option to provide feedback anonymously. And please drop those in the box before you leave. If you don't have one, we have plenty. Go to the next slide. So all of these images should look familiar to what you've seen in the presentation tonight. The mood board options, we're really looking for just kind of what aesthetic and what vibe you want to see in the materiality and the forms in the development of these spaces. So you'll be given one sticker, and we're asking you to provide your favorite or a sticky note with an option that we haven't considered. Please don't be shy. Next slide. So there is a big set of boards for the program. So we have a budgeting exercise where you'll have 4 stickers to vote on your top 4 programs that you would want to see. And then we have a mapping exercise where you would correspond and grab the stickers that you are voting kind of most prominently and add them to the map on where you want to see them. Next slide. And then we have a site relationship board. This is a very simple arrow exercise. We're interested in how you are going to most frequently access this corridor. This is going to help develop a kind of a heat map of how popular this corridor will be along the stretch. Next slide, please. And then the layout options, like Sam had described. Each layout option is paired with 3 questions that we are looking for your feedback on. So there will be a number of stickers on those boards. Next slide. And then if you are interested in a larger scale aerial plot to look at any areas that you have concerns about, we have 2 roll plots on the boards over there, and we're interested in any concerns or ideas that you may have. There's sticky notes everywhere, pens, and like I said, please feel free to reach out to red shirts, black shirts. We're here to listen. So we appreciate your time, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff.
Thank you so much, Brenda. So this is your opportunity right now, as Emily and Brenda said, to voice your opinion, be engaged. The boards are all set up in the back. There's the plat on the wall over there. This is not our first and only, we're not a one and done here. We're going to be coming back out to you throughout the summer to get further engagement. And once we get all the input that we get from the community, then we're going to go back out to you and say, this is what we've discovered. But again, this is your opportunity to be a major stakeholder in this project, and we encourage you to shoot for the stars and then let us kill your dreams. No, I'm kidding. But please, go out to the boards. We've got a professional staff back there. They're really excited. The CTA is excited. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as you well know. Let's get it right. So thank you so much for coming. Just a housekeeping thing. The first set of bathrooms over here are locked, but the second set of bathrooms are open as you go further north down the hallway. So thank you very much.
Thank you.